tells Judge Silverman. I don't see how he has jurisdiction over this. Cablevision's assets as of June 30th, 1994 are $1,481,372,000. Now subtract Glendora's cost of $745. This leaves Cablevision with $1,481,375,255. Glendora feels Cablevision can handle this. Also, this motion by Kalaji, that is Strickland, makes them look pretty petty, to say nothing of cheap. Further, it shows up how petty Kalaji's points all along have been ever since March 7, 1994, right up to this motion of September the 13th, 1994, wasting quote-unquote scant judicial resources. Kalaji, Strickland are wrong that Glendora did not serve the statement of judgment upon defendants. She did, and she did it twice, and she served twice upon Charles Dolan, John Tata, Mark Losgarten, Francis Randolph, William Quinn, and Robert Lemley. The statement of judgment and the execution both were sent to these people in the Glendora TV logs of August the 29th, 1994 week and September the 5th, 1994 week. It was the week that Cablevision and ITT bought Madison Square Garden for $1.1 billion. Now, how did Cablevision manage to do that without that $75 for the RJI? Following on pages 5 and 6 are Glendora's revised costs. For the index number, $170. For the stenographies, $4. Paid copies of papers, $200. Judgment filed, execution, sheriff, $41. Appeal to the appellate division, $250. Cost, $250. Disbursements, $495. The revised figure is $745. So I saved him something like $50. The undersigned pro se Glendora herein states that the costs and disbursements above specified are correct and true and have been necessarily incurred herein. And that's left open for the clerk to sign. And here is my application to Judge Silverman. Oh, wait till you hear what happened here. This is unbelievable. I asked him to delete Cable Systems Corporation in the caption, which was a typo made in the middle of the night, and I asked him to insert Cablevision Systems Corporation. Is that so hard to do? Okay, I asked him to do that. And I was talking to Andrew Belinsky about it over the phone, and he said right away, I don't think that we have jurisdiction to do that. That has to go to the appellate division. So why did they have jurisdiction to sign Kalaji's order to show cause? And I made out the order for him. All he had to do was sign it and fill it in. That's all they do anyhow. First, Kalaji writes a motion to enjoin. The next day, he writes a revised motion. The next day, he cancels the two motions and writes an order to show cause. Can he get it right the first time? What are they, a bunch of pro ses down there in Park Avenue? And we shareholders have to pay for all this bungling and nescience. Believe Glendora, her next cause of action against Cablevision management, i.e. mismanagement, is going to be the New York State Business Corporation law. These people do not act in the best interest of the shareholders on many counts, breaking a state law, breaking a federal law, lying about it, covering up about it, not saying who made the decision, never saying what their reason was, paying shareholders' funds to Kalaji to do all this, injuring the company's reputation. Glendora's request that Judge Silverman recuse himself. He is so pro se, prejudiced, he has lost all objectivity. It was bad enough at the July 14, 1944 conference when he insulted Glendora for several minutes about being a pro se. It was outrageous September 16, 1994, Friday at 11:04 a.m. upon a chance encounter in the hallway outside the 18th floor conference room, or robing room as they call it, when he became so abusive. Glendora said to Judge Silverman, "Did you sign my application?" Delete from the caption Cable Systems Corporation and insert Cablevision Systems Corporation. A typo. Judge Silverman said angry, "No, I didn't." Glendora, then why did you sign the other side's paper? Judge Silverman, with increased anger, "And I'm not going to sign it either." And he said this very loudly. Glendora, "I can't see why you have jurisdiction. It has gone to the appellate division." Judge Silverman, even more loudly and more angrily, "I'm not going to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you." Then even more loudly and with more anger, "You're not supposed to be back here. Then he said to Ritchie, a New York State court officer Glendora is known for years and is friendly with, Judge Silverman shouts, "I don't want her back here." Glendora starts to leave. Judge Silverman to somebody, Glendora's back to him because she was leaving. Judge Silverman said, "She's a litigant here." And Glendora said over her shoulder, "I am not a litigant here. I am in the appellate division." And I exited. Up in the administrative judge's office, Glendora, while waiting to see somebody about this, wrote down the above words to have a record of it exactly as it happened to read on TV. The public has to know what is going on in their courts. Within the hour, Glendora recounted verbatim the abuse above to several people in the county courthouse tower, including a couple of judges she knows. The judges looked pretty disgusted. One judge said, "No, you are a pro se acting as your own attorney. You are a pro se attorney and you have every right to go back there," meaning where this all happened, outside of Judge Silverman's robing room, conference room behind the courtroom. So Judge Silverman is wrong that Glendora is not supposed to be back there. And there are 4 other judges and clerks in that same area Glendora has to see. Judge Silverman is not the only judge back there. Furthermore, Kalaji had to go back there to get this odious order to show cause signed. That was ex parte. Now Ritchie is Glendora's witness. Such anger and loud voice is in violation of Canon 3A Judicial Code of Conduct. Quote, "A judge should be patient, dignified, and courteous to litigants." Judge Silverman was impatient, undignified, and discourteous. For the life of her, Glendora cannot see why Judge Silverman signs every order to show cause Kalaji puts under his nose, yet he will not sign a simple, content-neutral application to correct a typo made in the middle of the night. Glendora will make a motion to the appellate division to correct the typo. When the caption went through the lawsuit, nobody made anything of it, and Strickland notes in one of her 3 motions, and one of their 3 motions done over and over this past week, as a member of the bar of the court and an associate with the firm of Sadlerly, Stevens, Burke & Burke, attorneys for defendants Cablevision Systems Corporation, named incorrectly in the caption as Cable Systems Corporation. It's as simple as that. There's no way Glendora can receive due process from Judge Silverman with his bitterness, anger, hatred he has displayed. But due process demands an unbiased, impartial judge, free from any personal interest in the verdict. Glendora requests that Judge Silverman recuse himself for obvious defect of prejudice. Emergency application, quote unquote, is pretty melodramatic and pretty amusing. Strickland writes with shivering, shaking, sweating, terror, and anguish. In a telephone conversation today with Deputy Swirling of the Nassau County Sheriff's Department, he informed me that he will proceed to execute the judgment on Monday, September 19, 1994, unless he receives an order to show cause with stay, restraining him from enforcement of the judgment. Great big Cablevision with assets of $1,481,372,000 is petrified by the sheriffs going to One Meteor Crossway, Woodbury, to collect $797. Defendant's lawyer, who cannot get it right the first time, asked Judge Silverman to enjoin Glendora and the sheriff from collecting her costs, upon which he was silent. Glendora asked Judge Silverman that he not do this. Glendora shows the following causes that Judge Silverman not do this. A, Judge Silverman was silent on costs. B, Glendora gets the costs therefore. And C, for all the other causes listed on pages 1 to 6 of this paper. If Judge Silverman signs the order, Glendora will move the appellate division to vacate the order. This case is over, quote unquote. Over, quote unquote. Over. You win, quote unquote. It is a matter of record. Glendora appealed the decision and order of July 28th, 17 counts on August 9th, the same day of the New York Law Journal and the New York Times interviewed her about the case. Wait until they hear about this order to show cause to rob Glendora of her costs. This case is out of Supreme Court Westchester and is in Supreme Court 2nd Department Appellate Division. CPLR 3211B says a case cannot be in 2 courts at the same time. And further, Kalaji showed no irreparable harm if Cablevision paid my costs. It's no irreparable harm to Cablevision. It seems the proper way and the smarter way for Kalaji to ring his evil is to tell the sheriff the case is being appealed. But Cablevision Kalaji are too cheap to do that because in order to stop the sheriff, they would have to put down the undertaking of $797, and they're too cheap to do that. Now, there is another thing. From what the judges and law clerks tell us, the way it goes is that the argument about cost goes before the clerk, not the judge. It looks like Collegy and Judge Silverman have it all wrong. This dispute should be resolved with the judgment clerk, the third floor of the county courthouse tower. Then if there is an impasse, it can be decided by the judge. Why does Strickland write the following? No previous application for the relief sought herein has been made. She just made a previous application the day before and the day before that. Get it right the first time and stop wasting shareholders' funds. Collegy sent his cost to Glendora, Gannett Libo, the same day he went out. He sent out one of the motions to Judge Silverman, but he didn't send it to Judge Burroughs. Now that's screwy. He sends it to me, and he doesn't send it to Judge Burroughs. And I included the papers, which I read to you on the a report on what happened, Glendora versus Gannett Broder of this week. And here's what we were told to do about costs. The judge approves only the payment of the costs and disbursements. He has nothing to do with approving the figures listed. The county clerk determines the amount, so any opposition to or questions about amounts listed by defendants should be directed to the county clerk. Collegy should have done this to the county clerk, not to Judge Silverman. If the county clerk doesn't agree with what you think is fair, there is a procedure seldom used to make a motion to the Supreme Court for adjudication. So Collegy, you know, the lawyer, big lawyer down on Park Avenue, Satterley, Stevens, Burke, and Burke. Yeah. It's got it all backwards. Now Ginny wants to be fed. Folks, the appellate term is up here from Mineola. That would be Judge Ingracia, Judge DiPaolo, and Judge Collins, I would think. And they're up here in White Plains. They only come up here twice a year. So I'm going to run over now to the county courthouse 6 blocks away, and I want to watch them. So I will finish this when I get back. And it's only 3 more pages. And you, Ginny, I'll have to feed you when I get back. Term, and it was very good. It was my 3 judges. Judge DiPaolo was the presiding justice, and Judge Ingracia and Judge Collins. They've been together for years. Come on, Ginny. That's it. You made it, Ginny. And the kiddies want to eat. It's their lunchtime. There, Katie. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. And here, Ginny, here's yours over here. And I watched 4 or 5 cases, and Judge DiPaolo was very nice to the litigants. Most of them were pro se in the appellate term. And one man came just because he has a case coming up. So Judge DiPaolo says, oh, you want a dry run? He's got a great sense of humor. And Steve Waters was there, and Joseph Papillo, and Mr. Montella, and the new clerk. It's terrible, I can't remember the new clerk's name. And of course, Mr. The Irish one. And Eric Schmaltz was there, and he asked permission to submit a pro se brief, and he got it right away, so I'm very happy about that. And he also said that his lawyer would not get him the minutes, and so Mr. Montello, Mr. Judge DiPaolo ordered Mr. Montello to make sure that Eric Schmaltz got the minutes. And Eric Schmaltz was limping because he had an erupted appendix operation. Isn't that awful? And then at the end, when they left, Judge DiPaolo, while I was sitting there, Judge Ingracia, in silence, noted that I was there and nodded a silent good morning. And then Judge DiPaolo, when it was all over, he got up and he says, what's the joke of the day? And I says, the joke of the day is that I don't have any cases before the appellate term. Ooh. and I'm cleaned out. And I wish I was cleaned out of the appellate division. I wish I was cleaned out of the United States Court of Appeals. I wish this all was over. And so then I told him the joke of the day, and that's, did you hear about the couple who got married so late in life that Medicare picked up 80% of the honeymoon? And I said to Judge DiPaolo, I'm back on TV out in Nassau County where he lives. And he says, yes, I watch you. And I said, it's been back on the TV now for a month. He says, yes, I know. Boy, he stays up late, 11:30, 11 o'clock. But I made sure that he knew, don't go, Katie. I made sure that he knew that next October 7th, Thursday after tonight, a week from tonight, it goes back to its regular time, 10 p.m. on Channel 25. That's nice. A lot of judges watch this. So now, oh, and then I went and resolved the matter of, I handed in my motion to Colabella, Judge Colabella, in opposition to those ridiculous costs of $45 that I just read you for Elizabeth Hubbard, Michelle Mayapath, Alan Beck, and the Fund for Modern Courts. And then I handed in my opposition to, I showed cause why Judge Silverman should not sign an order enjoining me from collecting my costs from Cablevision. I handed that in, and that's where I was in the middle of reading that to you. We only had 3 more pages. I think I was right here. Okie doke. There's Ginny Cat. Ginny Cat. Well, anyway, so if the county clerk doesn't agree with what you think is fair as far as the costs go, there is a procedure seldom used to make a motion to the Supreme Court for the adjudication. Glendora really questions that Cablevision gave Kalaji permission to try to enjoin her and the sheriff from collecting her costs. It is such a dumb thing to do, and it looks so bad. It is pathetic. Glendora, with her program now back on cable TV in Long Island, this week is the 4th week, and with its going back to its original time slot next week, was ready to live in peace, but this cheapness about the costs opens up the fights again. So here is a reminder of the laws that have been broken. The state law that Cablevision broke was no cable television company may prohibit or limit any program presented over any channel made available for public access. And that's what Cablevision did. Stupid. They got a bunch of lawyers on the board. How could they do anything so dumb? And one of their directors is the former FCC commissioner of the United States. The state law is also stated this way: the cable television franchisee shall not exercise any editorial control over any public use of channel capacity. And the federal law is much clearer. It's, and they broke this too. A cable operator shall not exercise any editorial control over public use of channel. And then I quoted here for Judge Silverman. Due process mandates an unbiased, impartial judge free from any personal interest in the verdict. Glendora wants out of this court, Judge Silverman's court. And you told her 3 times it was, quote, over, unquote. CPLR Section 8404 does not apply to what Kalaji is trying to pull off. Upon motion of any interested party or on notice, the court may allow or disallow any item objected to before the clerk. See, he didn't object to it before the clerk, and that's where he should have gone first. Or it may order a retaxation before the clerk, and it may specify the grounds or the proof upon which an item may be. First went to this court's order of June 8, 1994, Donald Silverman, which order has not been vacated. Judge Silverman said 3 times the case is over. See the record Glendora bought. So I'm going to read this to you, and I've given it to Judge Silverman to read. Glendora, are you going to compel discovery? Silverman, well, I think the case is over. I don't know what's left to. Proceedings, discover. Glendora, that's it. You see how the case got over before I got a chance for discovery. That's a steno typo, of course, stenographer's mistake. Silverman, well, you won. See, you didn't win money, but you won the right to have the programming go back on. Glendora, now that's it? Silverman, you got what you wanted, except for the money. Silverman, that's right. That's why you won. Oh, I told Silverman that his job was not to... He doesn't like these laws, see? He's like Broderick. He doesn't like these laws. But they aren't legislators, they're judges. And their job is to enforce the law that is written. And so Glendora says, Judge Silverman, it's not your job to rule on the laws that might be in the future. Your job is to rule on the law that we have now. And Judge Silverman said, that's right, that's why you won. Glendora, okay, you said the decision will be in the mail in a week or so? Silverman, yes. Glendora, and this case is over? Judge Silverman, yes. Now here's a fourth one even. Glendora, I was injured over 5 months ago. Silverman, well, you won. You didn't win money, but you won something more important than money. So that's where Silverman said this case is over, and that dumb Kalaji makes an order to show cause to Silverman, in whose court the case is over. About this is something that I'm reading from Strickland or Kalaji. Enjoining plaintiff from taking further action to execute the statement of judgment entered August 23rd, 1994. Don't you think this is picky? When the assets of Cablevision are $1 billion, $1.5 billion almost, that they're enjoining Glendora from collecting $790. D, enjoining execution of any writ of executions, including the writ of execution with notice to garnishee dated August 23rd, 1994, and for such other and further relief this court may deem just and proper. And it is further, Cablevision is petrified, folks, of $797. Here you are, they are on record for the same, but Ginny's not going to let you see the record. Oh, Ginny, you're so pretty. Okay, Ginny, you stay right there. Ordered that pending the hearing and determination of this motion, Strickland writes, A, plaintiff is temporarily enjoined from taking further action to execute the statement of writ of judgment or writ of execution with notice to garnishee, or I guess this is Kalaji, and B, any sheriff of Nassau County is temporarily enjoined from executing any writ of execution, including the writ of execution with notice to garnishee dated August 23rd, 1994. Well, until the order is signed, the sheriff has to collect. Glendora paid him. That was the contract. I paid the sheriff $15.80 to go out and collect it, and he's got to do it until this order is signed, if it is signed. Glendora has shown cause why Judge Silverman should not sign an order enjoining her and the sheriff from collecting her costs by not executing the statement of judgment or writ of execution to garnishee dated August 23rd, 1994, or any other executions. To sign such an order would be grossly unjust and would be an embarrassment to the New York Supreme Court, Westchester County. It would be a bad public record to live on in the archives. Glendora will take her revised statement. There goes the mess on the desk. I don't know what we can do about that. Glendora will take her revised statement of judgment to the clerk and get it settled there. That is where Kalaji should fight it out, and oh, how petty and how cheap. It is the clerk's job, not the judge's. The case is over 3 times over. 8101, section, costs in an action. The party in whose favor a judgment is entered is entitled to costs in the action, unless otherwise provided by statute or unless the court determined that to so allow costs would not be equitable under all the circumstances. That's the law. 8101. A party in whose favor a judgment is entered is entitled to costs in the action. First, Glendora is a victim of a liar, a thief, and a cheat, Scott Lord. Then a victim of the bankruptcy court. Then a victim of Cablevision. Then a victim of Kalaji. Then a victim of Judge Silverman. It's rough. Where does it all fit in with liberty and justice and for all? Glendora is grateful to Judge Silverman that he got her program back on cable TV in Nassau. It was fellowcific. She is disappointed that he had to deteriorate to being an enemy before the case before him. Glendora respected him, watched him in court a lot. Glendora likes to see judges at their best, not at their worst. She wants out of this court now. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable unto Thee, our God, our strength, and our Redeemer. Dated White Plains, New York, September 30th, 1994. Yours in truth, Glendora. A chat with Glendora, Box 416, White Plains, New York, 10602, 914-949-9495. Subscribed and sworn to before me this 29th day of September, 1994, Francis Harrison. Now, over at the county courthouse this morning, the appellate term, by the way, met in Judge Wood's courtroom. They usually do, room 1800. I went to see John Sulich, who's this very nice court clerk. He doesn't see these programs. He lives in Connecticut. And Richie, the court officer who witnessed all this with Judge Silverman, was there. Vegetarian dinner. Yeah, she loves corn on the cob. And she's eating her vegetarian wham. And she's eating her vegetarian burger. What's a good kitty? She's a good kitty. So, I saw Jerry Pellis up on, he's a court stenographer, I saw him up on the 18th floor. And I wanted to go to the appellate term. I had to see everything I could before they left. And so Jerry wanted me to get out on the 10th floor. He says, I have your minutes ready for you. I says, yeah, I'll come down just as soon as I make sure I see the appellate term, because they only come up here twice a year. So I went and I saw them. And the minutes, I might as well read those to you. I paid, he asked $20 for them, so I gave him cash, and I asked him if he would just charge $15. So he did. Thank you, Jerry. Glendora, this is to Judge Wood. This was a conference on September the 13th, 1994. Glendora, Your Honor, this is a conference, and I'm hoping that you declare this case as trial ready. You gave the defendant, Larkin, being the only one who wanted discovery, a date certain to complete the discovery, which was August 22nd, and the discovery is completed. So I would like to certify that I think this trial is ready. I mean, this case is ready for trial, and I would like to have you certify that it is. And I would like to get on with my note of issue, and I would like to get on with my demand for jury. Judge Wood, you say the deposition of Larkin? Glendora, no, the deposition of me for Larkin. The Larkin defendants, Wilson wanted the deposition. They are the only ones who wanted discovery. I got a glimpse of Judge Wood this morning. He's sitting in his conference room. He looked very, very nice. Judge Wood, you say your deposition, Glendora, is over. August 22nd has come and gone, and I say discovery is over, so we can go to trial. Judge Wood, well, you know, of course, I have a motion. Yes, Glendora, 3 motions. One, that Carlucci should recuse himself and that you make the decision solely. And the 2 motion is that Wilson be sanctioned for not giving me the insurance agreement that you ordered them to give me. And 3 is that I win by default judgment. Judge Wood, except they brought on a cross motion. Do you have a copy of that, Glendora? Yes, sir. And I also had a reply affidavit to their cross motion. Judge Wood, did you submit it to an answer to their cross motion? Glendora, yes. So it is all fully submitted? Glendora, yes. Judge Wood, I think you realize I have not had a chance to read all the papers. As a matter of fact, I am seeing them for the first time because we put everything over pending this conference. So that confirms what I've said a long time ago, that in many cases the judge doesn't even see the papers. It's all up to the law clerk. And this is a particularly bad law clerk, this Paul Carlucci. told her children to play over on the other side. And the other children went to Rutherford. The 3C children, is that so?
Yeah.
Now her children being who? 2 boys? The 2 boys?
Yes.
You said Patty told her children to play over on the other side.
The children were all there, and she was motioning over there. And she couldn't tell the others where to play, but she could tell her.
Okay, I'm going to turn off this recorder and try to go back to the telephone. And the time is 4:36 p.m. 4:50 p.m. Everybody's gone now. Sunday, October 2nd, 1994. At, before, James Welch and Daniel Welch. I want you to come and see this, Franklin. Okay, look right out here. He went by the window, he said, Glendora. Okay? He stood outside of her window and lit a cigar or a cigarette. p.m.
Was that with James?
James, of course.
12.
And you hear the old Welch whistles?
Yes.
Those are the old Welch whistles. And James Welch can't see us. They're out there sitting on the wall and heckling us. You can hear it. Whistling in the loud voice. And this air pollution too with the foul cigar. October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday. How many times have you heard these Daniel Welch, James Welch, and Roberta Welch whistles? Intent to annoy and alarm with no legitimate purpose. Definition of harassment, a crime. Great father he is to teach your son that. Yeah. It's a fine way to bring up a son. Well, the kid is shot anyway. His lungs are shot. And Daniel Welch just went by my window at 7:31 p.m. and said, "Yoo-hoo! What a walnut of a brain. The man never grew up. He never matured." No hope for his son. With parents like that. Okay, let's call the White Plains Police. Outside of my window whistling at me and yoo-hooing. Daniel Welch. a neighbor upstairs. And
But who is this?
who am I? I am Glendora. Who are you?
This is White Plains Police Department.
Yeah, but who are you? I didn't get your name when you said it.
I'm Shield 645.
645.
That's correct.
Okay, he's outside my window whistling at me and cackling and saying, yoo-hoo, and saying, Glendora. Okay, I want it stopped. I don't want to wait for Officer Fisher in the morning. I want it stopped.
This is 21 Greenridge, right?
Yes, and this is harassment, intent to annoy and alarm with no legitimate purpose.
Right. Your apartment 2A, right?
Yes, I'm 2A and he's 3A.
Okay, Glendora.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye. 7:33 a.m. p.m., excuse me, White Plains Police. This is Daniel Welch again, whistling at my window, which is harassment. I've called the police. They are on their way. Daniel Welch and James Welch. What possible life can James Welch have in front of him with a father like that? All right, we'll put up the window so I can hear it better. That's Nella Alpucci and Daniel Walsh yelling from the driveway to the second floor. I heard there was a lot of activity up here today, Nella. Oh, yeah. p.m. Daniel Walsh went by screaming 1, 2, 3, 4. Who do we appreciate? James Walsh whistling. Witnesses, Franklin?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we'll go get him on videotape.
That's the White Plains noise ordinance. Hooting, whistling, shouting.
they're drinking. And that's James Walsh, who is making all the whistling noise. And you can see he's drinking the beer. And of course he's under the influence. This is a fine upbringing for James Walsh. Out and trying to get Candy going now. And what's the time? What time is it?
7:42.
7:42 p.m. October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday night. So we just keep the camera going. Okay, there's an insult of FATASS. Nice upbringing for a son. Good language to use in front of a son. It's all a matter of record. And now he's laughing. This man never grew up. He never matured. Look at it. Look at it. The mentality of a 6-year-old. Look at it. Now he's waving because he's drunk.
That's the same as talking to him.
That's the same. He's drunk. He's under the influence of a substance. Substance abuse, and he just said FATASS. So just keep the camera going. See, that was, he came down deliberately to do that.
Oh, yes. No question.
Oh, yeah.
That's clear.
That's harassment. That's Daniel Walsh trying to get Candy to join forces with him so she can break some laws too. Okay, did you hear that? I'm breaking the law right now? I'm breaking the law right now. The police are on their way. And that's Candy Alpucci also counting. Okay. Okay, you going to call Franklin?
Hi, have you got a car coming up to 21 Green Ridge?
It's been referred, sir.
Well, it's been referred. You're not going to do anything about it, huh?
It's referred to the proper authority.
You referred to the proper authority means Officer Fisher's going to call in 4 days about this, huh?
And it's not going to be 4 days. It was referred to the proper unit, ma'am.
Yeah, you mean you're not sending anybody. You're going to let this go on, right?
That is correct.
That's a whole lot of protection you give a person.
An officer's been there once today to speak to you.
That's a different party altogether. What's that got to do with it? That's not the issue. The issue is we're being harassed and you're not doing anything about it.
No,
It's happening right here under your eyes and you're not doing anything.
what I was instructed to do.
Oh, great. Well, you're going to get a nice record on TV, let me tell you. And it's going to be on there, and this conversation included.
It's pretty blatant when your neighbors come out and sit right outside your window and yell obscenities at you for no reason. And you're just in your home, minding your own business. And this
Order's been referred to the proper unit, ma'am.
Yeah, are you coming? Are you coming
I
up?
want to speak to an officer right now.
Yes. Are you coming up here the way you should and stop this?
Would you like to speak to an officer right now?
yes,
Are you coming up here and stop this the way you should? Are you going to do your duty?
I can't hear you, ma'am.
Are you coming up here and stop this the way you should? And that's what I requested. Are you going to do your duty?
What exactly is this person doing?
I told you that already. He's outside of my whistle. He just called me an FATASS. I'm trying to be in my home and do my work and live in peace. And he's out there whistling and cackling and hollering and taunting you, of course, saying that you're never going to come. Yeah, that's what he's doing. You think that's right, that I should be insulted from my window?
Hold on 1 second, please. I have an emergency call. Hold on.
They've gone.
Oh, they've gone?
Yep. Okay, it's, just hang on.
What's your phone?
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay, the time is 7:47 p.m. They've gone. They went off in the car to get a pizza in the horn booth. He was drinking. Did you see the can of beer?
What's the problem?
Yes, this is Glendora. I'd like Captain Quinn to call me, please, in the morning.
You'd like Captain Quinn to call you in the morning?
Yes.
Okay.
949-9495.
9495. Very good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hello? Don't open the door. Who is it? Good evening.
How you doing, man? What can I do for you?
Come in. Well, you're too late. Okay? Now, Daniel Walsh lives up there, third floor. Come in and shut the door, please. Was right outside of this window and that window. And he goes by and he says, Glendora. And then he sits over there in the wall with his son. And he says, you're an FATASS. And he said that 3 times. And then he hollered from there up to apartment 3B. Now this was all harassment, intent to annoy and alarm with no legitimate purpose. This is exactly what he was here for. There's my witness right there. This is Mr. Franklin Buell.
Sir?
And then whistling and going by this window and saying, yoo-hoo! And it's all on audio tape. I have it all on audio tape. In fact, I have some of it on videotape.
Can you spell your last name, man?
My last name?
Yes.
Buell, B-U-E-L-L.
And what's your date of birth, Miss Buell?
5/1/28.
And what's the phone number here?
949-9495. And this started at about 7, and it went on to about 7:30, and he had his son with him. So it was just cackling, and it was just whistling. And when they came downstairs from up there in 3A, there was foot stomping, a lot of repetitive foot stomping outside of our door. And then they came down and went south, and then went east, and went by this window, and started calling me by name, and started calling me.
What was the number you were saying?
The man who did it is Daniel Walsh, apartment 3A, and his son, James Walsh.
Okay, well, that's really, if it's harassment, there's not much I can do. I didn't see it.
Well, no, because you got here so late. You know, I only placed the call, I think, at 7 o'clock. But you don't want to see it. That's the thing.
This is the first time I've been here.
I know, and you don't want to see it.
So,
No, you don't want to see it. Okay, we'll look for your report.
all I want to do is write a report on the same.
That's right, that's all the way
Around
through.
the house,
That's all that ever happened.
calling your name. Even
Calling my name? What about FATASS?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're talking about harassment, you have the press in charge of harassment anyway.
All right, I would gladly, if you'd been
request a citizen's arrest. And you know the right way you should handle this? You should take me right down to the station, and you should have me write it out and sign the criminal information, and then you should get Daniel Walsh down there, and I'll say you're under arrest, Daniel Walsh. That's the way real policemen handle it.
Well, that's...
And not the White Plains police. Okay, I thank you for coming.
When I've seen it, I didn't see anything.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've heard that for 2 years. It's it's a recorded announcement. Thank you for coming. Good night. p.m.
Parking space.
October 2nd, 1994, Sunday.
Picture of my mother and father, who were married 45 years, more than 45 years. And I'm playing for you now a report to John Porzio, the owner of 21 Greenwich Avenue.
Oh, no, toasty, perfect.
Okay.
So I called you up to thank you.
Oh, okay.
Very, very comfortable.
Good.
Last night I have to report that Daniel Walsh stood outside my windows with James Walsh for a whole half hour, whistling at me and shouting and calling me an F-A-T-A-S-S. He did that 3 times. And then he was smoking, he was drinking, he was obviously substance abuse. And then I called the police, and finally at 7:59 p.m. He desisted. It was he and James. James was whistling, and Daniel was shouting up to Nella, and Nella didn't fall for it. She stayed in her apartment. He was trying to get her to come down. And so that was for a half an hour, and it was 2 things. It was harassment, intent to annoy and alarm with no legitimate purpose, and it was the violation of the White Plains Noise Ordinance, shouting, hollering, hooting, whistling, so as to disturb.
The police come?
Yeah, well, no, they said they were going to come, and then it looked to me obvious like they weren't going to come. And so we called them again, and Franklin says that a person shouldn't be insulted outside of, through his window. And so they were, the second call, the police were saying, well, it's been reported, meaning they gave it to Officer Fisher, who is the one who's covering this situation. Community police, they call it, community problem. And so then when they didn't come, I called again the 3rd time, and I said, would you please ask Captain Quinn to call Glendora in the morning? And within 3 minutes, an officer came. But his story was always the same. The story's always the same. You say it's harassment and the noise ordinance, but I didn't see it, the officer says. I didn't see it. I have to see it in order to arrest anybody. And I said to the officer, I said, I've heard this, for months now, for over a year. And I said, what you really should do is to have me go down to the police station, write a criminal information, sign it, and call Daniel Walsh and James Walsh down here, and I will put them under arrest. At that, of course, he sped out the door. So that's the whole story. And I did speak to Captain Quinn this morning. And Captain Quinn used to be Lieutenant Quinn, if you remember. And he was assigned to this community problem. And now he's a captain. And Lieutenant Rossi's taken his place. Anyway, that's it, and I wanted you to know that's what happened. Okay, John. Thank you. Bye. The date is October the 3rd, 1994, Monday.
It's not perfect, but it's...
Banquet said, I'm very happy to be here tonight, having met the philosophical requirements of the program chairman. He believes, 1, in free speech, and 2, he believes in free speeches.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay,
bye.
bye.
Wish to leave a message for him, you may after this recording, or if you wish to speak to a live operator, please press 0. Thank you. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Deputy Schwerin, this is Glendora, and it's 9:30 a.m., which is between 9 and 10:30 a.m. on a weekday morning, Monday, October the 3rd, 1994. As I repeat to you that you have to collect that money as long as the order isn't signed, and the order hasn't been signed, so you have to collect it. That's what I paid my $15.80 for. Now, as for your weak excuse that you couldn't collect because it says Cable Systems Corporation instead of Cable Vision Systems Corporation, after it is prima facie gone through, the lawsuit has gone through, and everybody recognizes it as a typo. I have reported that on television, and it is on. It looks to me like it's going to be on television in your part of the country on October the 28th. I'm on every Friday night at Channel 25 at 10 p.m. But I think also it's on another cable company. And I've got to look into some more records. 40 programs every month, half an hour, every one different, never a repeat. And it's really hard to trace where these programs are on a particular day or a particular time. Thank you. My number is 914-949-9495. You have no excuse for being a wimp. You have no excuse for not collecting that judgment. No order has been signed. 9:33 a.m.
That's to the sheriff of Nassau County. They'll always find an excuse not to collect, just as they did for Scott Lord for 3 years. But I collected.
9:42 a.m. October 3rd night. Okay, this is 9:45 a.m. I'm doing the 9-8 calls. Isn't that wonderful? Good morning, 9495.
Good morning, Glendora.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
Good. Who is it?
This is Deputy Sheriff Sperling.
Oh, good morning, Deputy Sheriff Swirling. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. So you received my message just now.
Yes.
Okay, I repeat, you have to collect that judgment because there's no order signed yet.
There's an order to show cause signed.
Oh, it isn't either signed. It was an order to show cause.
Yes, it is.
But he hasn't ruled on it yet.
And that states the sheriff from proceeding.
No, it doesn't. Not until it's signed.
It does order that pending the hearing and determination of this motion, plaintiff is temporarily enjoined from taking further action to execute the statement of judgment.
But he hasn't signed it. He's got to look for it, and he's got to look to my opposition to it. That order is not signed.
Yes, sir. Well, you can understand something. I'm not too happy with Cable Vision. Okay? So let's understand about that. And if I could do something to them, I would do it.
Then why didn't you do it before the order to show cause?
You have the wrong kind.
Oh, no, that's just a wimpy excuse. That's just a wimpy excuse. You know very well that lawsuit went through. You know that lawsuit went through.
Listen to me.
No, I'm not going to listen to you. You go ahead and talk. I got the recorder going, and I report on television as it happens.
Hey, you can put it on.
Good or bad, you cut your record. And I'm not cutting your record, you are. But go ahead, the recorder's going.
Oh, I don't talk to recorders.
Okay, this is Deputy Swirling, and the time is 9:47 a.m. The date is October 3rd, 1994, Monday. He has cut his record.
Goodbye, Glendora.
And I will inform you when it will be on.
Goodbye, Glendora.
You'll hear the dial tone in just a second. There it is. A message that the United States Attorney, the New York State Attorney General, that would be Capel, have not intervened in Glendora versus Cablevision. Even though both sides have appealed the decision. I filed my notice of appeal August 9th, and the Cablevision filed a cross appeal about 3 weeks later. And the Attorney General has not intervened.
Okay, I'll give him the message.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I have your number?
914-949-9495.
9495.
And did you know that a good speech, to be immortal, need not be eternal? Okay, that's today's joke.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
The account number is 312-637.
Finneran, who is the commissioner of the New York State Cable Commission, a really do-nothing outfit, so far as I can see. They did nothing on this case when I went to court and fought for their law. They really did nothing. Here's another know-nothing agency, the Federal Communications Commission, Washington, D.C.
Can I have your number?
914-949-9495.
9495.
And did you know that a good speech, to be immortal, need not be eternal? Okay, that's today's joke.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
The account number is 312-637.
Finneran, who is the commissioner of the New York State Cable Commission, a really do-nothing outfit, so far as I can see. They did nothing on this case when I went to court and fought for their law. They really did nothing. Here's another know-nothing agency, the Federal Communications Commission, Washington, D.C.
Okay, you can reach him through his line and we'll be transferred. I guess he did something wrong, huh?
No.
Okay, have they made the decision yet on WCBS TV, Channel 2, New York?
I have no idea.
All right, is there anybody there who would know?
Hold on a second. Let me try to get Ann Lucy. Hold on.
Call is from another deputy sheriff in Nassau County.
That's Alexander Quinn at the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Good afternoon, 9495.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Deputy Rayo, Nassau County Sheriff. Could I speak to Glendora, please?
Deputy who?
Rayo, R-A-O.
Excuse me, we just spell it again.
R-A-O.
R-A-O.
Right,
Ray-O.
right.
Oh, nice to meet you. This is Glendora. What's your telephone number out there?
Area code 516
Yes.
571
Yes.
2122.
2122.
Right,
Okay. Deputy Rayo.
right.
Yes.
Okay, I'm calling in reference to a case that you have against Cable Systems Corporation,
Yeah. Yeah.
full download and everything like that.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that you say there is no order to show cause?
There is no order to show. There's an order to show cause, but it is only a motion before the court, and I have written my opposition to it, and the judge has not stopped you from collecting the money, nor stopped me from collecting the money. Not yet. Not until the judge signs an order.
No, wait. I have an order to show cause.
No, that's just an order to show cause.
Right, which stops me from proceeding.
No, it doesn't. It does not. You have to have the judges has to make a decision on it yet. And he hasn't made the decision on it. An order to show cause is nothing but a motion anyhow.
Do me a favor. Listen to me 1 second. The order reads.
I know what the order reads. I have it.
Oh,
But that doesn't mean that he has given them, that he has enjoined you.
Ma'am, do me a favor. Turn to page 2. Do you have the order in front of you?
No, I haven't read.
This is what happened on Chat with Glendora from September 29th to today, which is October the 4th. This chair right here is going to be occupied by Judge Mary Smith, a judge in the City Court of the City of Yonkers. And so last Thursday, we did programs, Franco and I, at TCI. We did programs 1575, 1576, and 1577, broadcast New York and Scott and Broder and Wall and Modern Courts and Cablevision. And we made VHSs of 1575, 1576, 77, 78 was started, and that's a great record for 3¼ hours. And Franco carried the box at 7 p.m. from TCI on Mamaroneck Avenue across Maple Street to the Lincoln in the ramp. And I went to the Yonkers Railroad Station and picked up Franklin, who came home from Syracuse from visiting his brother, and his brother is not doing well. And this poor dog, we were standing waiting for a light on Yonkers Avenue, and there were like 3 lanes of traffic, and here's Ginny Cat. And we were waiting for the light to turn green, and to our right, a man who was parked at the curb in this old rickety car, he pulled out of that parking space and went around in front of us and started west on Yonkers Avenue. And I noticed something in the middle of the road. It was something black. And then all of a sudden, it started to move. And it moved some more, and it was a dog. And apparently, in this madman's driving, swerving like that, the dog was thrown out of the window. And so the man stopped over here, and he says, "Get over here." So the poor dog, he must have been hurt. He got up and he walked over to the car, and he put his paws on the windowsill of the car, and somehow that dog, injured as he was, jumped through the window, across the man, and onto the other side of the car. Poor dog! Having to live a life dominated by that creep. Well, that's terrible. This is Ginny Cat. Nobody would ever treat Ginny Cat that way. And Ginny Cat is facing me so she can stare me down, so I'll feed her. And I just fed her 2 minutes ago. What happened on Friday, we did the red calls and the green calls and got those up to date. Franklin took tapes to TKR. They have a brand new facility over there in West Nyack. They built a building especially for TKR cable operations, and they have a state-of-the-art studio. And so Franklin took the tapes over there to Jonathan Arnold, who's always a pleasure to see. And then Franklin picked up the last clothes from Bertha, and we're through paying somebody to do our sewing. And so that's all over with. And that cost about $60 or $70. We got the praying up to date and did 160 calls, and we called Regent to put the heat on. Census form, it was all about economics, so he filled that out. And it was a big job to do a chat with Glendora and to label the new Super VHS. On Thursday, we start editing on new Super VHS. We're all through editing on a 3/4 inch at TCI. So now it's going to be Super VHS. So I bought 3 Super VHS tapes. Each one cost $10. That's going to be quite a hefty bill every week. I bought 3 of them for $30 at Wiz. I don't think their price is that good. And so it's a big job to label. Well, I labeled the 3/4 inch, you know, just in case you got to make the transition. And I labeled the Super VHS. And I queued up all of the 8mm tapes. And so Franklin called John Porzio, and John Porzio says, "All right, I'll be right over." And I turned it on, and he turned the switch on to winter. And it was as simple as that. And Tom came over, and he couldn't find the key, and so instead of pursuing it and doing the job and getting it done, he just let it go. And so John Porzio turned on the heat, and it's toasty warm here, and it's perfect. And so who needs Regent Oil? And who needs Tommy? John Porzio did the job on a Saturday afternoon. Beautiful, the 2 dryers that are computerized, and the dryer that's computerized. The machines work just perfectly, and it's a pleasure to use them. It makes laundering a pleasure. We dressed up and we went to church, and we went to the social, and a lot of the day was spent by the law breaking of the noisy girls, 3 noisy girls in apartment 3C and 2 noisy boys from apartment 2B. And the police were here. And then Daniel Walsh started his, he was breaking 3 laws, harassing, intent to annoy, and alarm with no legitimate purpose, the breaking of the White Plains noise ordinance, and then abusive and insulting language. James Walsh and Daniel Walsh kept that up from 7:20 p.m. to 7:59 p.m., and the police came for that. We're done Monday. Maybe it was more like 106 day. And on Friday, Franklin also took 4 new programs up to Yorktown Heights Cablevision and brought back the 4 programs that had been cablecast. Admitted to the bar at the United States Court of Appeals. I don't know how he can submit papers. He's just not admitted to the bar. And he submitted a paper in opposition to amicus curiae Perry, Robert Perry's citations that were submitted after the oral argument on Glendora versus Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Randolph, Lusgarten, Osnara, and that the decision on that case has not been made as of yet. Printed on Monday. Hi, Jeannie Cat. How's the Jeannie Cat doing? Yeah, how's the Jeannie Cat doing? And it was distributed this morning, Tuesday, at around 6 a.m. to the 15 apartments. The Glendora TV log was finished, and it went out to who was that, Jeannie? To Dolan and Tata and Randolph and Lemley and I believe Lusgarten. It went out to 6 of them, along with Glendora's show cause why Judge Silverman should not enjoin her from collecting her costs and not enjoin the Sheriff of Nassau County. That the decisions were being worked on and were just about done, that are before Judge Wood, and that the decision should be delivered sometime this week. And it's 4 things in order to show cause to that Daniel Walsh and his family and Nella Alpucci and Theo Alpucci should not bother Glendora anymore, should not harass her, should not insult her, and with the horn blowing and all of the other laws that they break. Want me to scratch your ear, Jeannie? I'll scratch your ear. There. And so those decisions should be down this week. We got a decision from the United States Court of Appeals on the oral argument of last Tuesday on Glendora versus Conrad Duberstein, John Robert Hall, Andrew Maloney, 2 judges, a United States Attorney, Harold Jones, a United States Trustee, Teresa Kavanaugh, Neil Mann, 2 Assistant United States Trustee, and Joseph Derby acting as security at the Westbury Bankruptcy Court. He's not a marshal. And Tom Rogers of the NBC Television Network called Glendora, and that was a nice conversation. Benon Broder, Glendora versus Gannett Broder, Curley, Watson, McCorkindale, Sherlock, and Paulson. The only thing that happened here is that we got notice in writing of the oral argument date for the Gannett antitrust case, a bad decision of Judge Broderick, and the oral argument date, as you know, is October the 20th. Law breaking of the Walsh, Alpucci, and Larkin families. We had to send a notice to Judge Wood that we still don't have the right address and that Michael Koza is still lying. The deposition minutes were read on White Plains Public Access at 5:30 p.m. Monday, Channel 14. And also the wall log. The whole program was about the breaking of the law by walls. But Friday, September 30th, was a day of peace. Saturday was a day of peace. Sunday was all the turmoil that you just heard on all the videotapes and the audio tapes. 3 noisy girls in 3C and 2 noisy boys in 2B. And the harassment and law breaking of Daniel and James Walsh that I just mentioned to you. And Monday, there was more noise by the girls in 3C and by the boy in 2B. Captain Quinn, and congratulated him on his promotion from lieutenant to captain. And she told him about the bad police performance on Sunday. And then right after that, Officer Fisher called, and he got all of the reports of the law breaking from September the 26th Monday to October the 3rd Monday. And on modern courts, my protest to the greedy ripoff by Edmund S. Purvis, a lawyer in Larchmont, for $4,500 on the modern courts case, which is bad all around. They're a bad Fund for Modern Courts was bad to do what they did. Elizabeth Hubbard, Alan Beck, and Michelle Mayapath, and the court was bad to do what they did, which was to cover it up and to rule as they did. And then Purvis was bad to do what he did, ask for $4,500 attorney's fees, and there's my opposition to that, and that's before Judge Colabella. It was a bad defendants, and it was a bad court. And so nothing's happening on there except tonight on TCI. Glendora will read what is wrong with the court and what is wrong with the Fund for Modern Courts, Hubbard, Mayapath, and Beck. Cablevision, here's another law that Cablevision has broken. This is the New York State Business Corporation Law, and this is Section 718. A list of directors and officers. A, if a shareholder or creditor of a corporation and a whole lot of other people or state official makes a written demand on a corporation to inspect a current list of its directors and officers and their residence addresses, the corporation shall, within 2 business days after receipt of the demand and for a period of 1 week thereafter, make the list available for such inspection at its office during usual business hours. Now, you remember I called up David Deitch, and David Deitch hides behind the secretary, and he won't come to the phone. And the secretary says, oh, no, we can't do that. And I said, well, I think that the law says that. And she says, oh, no, we can't do that. So there's another law that Cablevision is breaking. And so I will write a formal letter making this demand. And we will see if they comply or if they just go on breaking the law. They've already broken one law, Article 28, New York Executive Law, not to exercise editorial control over a public access program, and they've broken another law, a similar federal law, Title 47, 531E. So it lets them go on and break a third law. That's good. That's great. Set up to videotape, and we laid down all of the audio footage of the vile law breaking of Daniel Walsh and James Walsh, and of the White Plains noise ordinance from the noisy girls in apartment 3C and the noisy boys in apartment 2B. I baked a loaf of bread and took it over to the new tenant in apartment 2B, that's Patty. I took it over to her on Saturday, and she was very happy to have it. And then I believe it was the next day that I took over a loaf of bread that I baked and welcomed the new tenants in apartment 1C. And they're perfect tenants. They're perfect neighbors. And this is little Jeannie Cat. Jeannie Cat, why don't you show the people your lovely face? Huh? Oh, yeah, look at the people. Why don't you look at the people? She always points toward the source of food. Food. In a room, one athlete said that prestige is when people see you. Could I please have this microphone? Thanks. When people see you, they ask you for your autograph, and another athlete says, no. Prestige is going to the White House, and the president says, hi, Bill, how are the wife and kids? And the third athlete says, no. Prestige is being at the Vatican, you're talking to the Pope, the photos come out, and the next day, and people say, who's the man next to me? Harold watches so much sports on TV. He watches football, and he watches basketball, and he watches hockey. His mother-in-law says that he watches so much sports on TV that he has athlete's seat. And Olivia said that my son had to leave a promising career because of falling arches. And Mary says, was he an athlete? And Olivia says, no, he was an architect. And springtime is when the economy wrestles with three major surpluses: corn, wheat, and Girl Scout cookies. About 10 hours working on Cablevision over the weekend. And one thing that I did was to take, the oral argument, I was only allowed 5 minutes, and I had about an hour's worth of material. So I wasn't able to use it, and I didn't have time to finish grouping the material as I would have used it if I'd given a proper amount of time, But I continued that, just as if I were going to do it for the oral argument. And I grouped everything, and I got it done. And this will be good, because if I need it for a rehearing, it will be all ready to write up. Or if I need it for the United States Supreme Court, it will be all ready to write up. So I didn't want to give up on that project, even though the time for it to be useful was over with. So that took a long time, and also to get the Cablevision files back in order, where I'd used the backs of the paper for scrap paper to save the trees. So those all had to be refiled, and that was a very bad job. But the file now is this long, and it's all neat and tidy. I finished reading the second quarter report of Cablevision. Such a convoluted company. We sit and wait for Judge Mary Smith here on A Chat with Glendora. And that will be this afternoon, Tuesday, October 4th at 2 p.m. The microphone. Everybody, as promised, we have Judge Mary Smith with us, and Judge Mary Smith is a city judge in the City Court of Yonkers. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you, Glendora?
Doing fine. You wanted to tell people what you do in court down in Yonkers.
Yes, I did. Many times we have had a conversation over coffee about the fact that so many people come to court, they don't know what it's all about, they're frightened, they don't know their rights, and it has often occurred to me that there are no programs that I'm aware of anyway in most schools, that most students don't know much about the court system or how the courts are set up or what their rights are, and most adults don't either. So when they come to court, it's a very frightening experience for many people. I am a city court judge in the city of Yonkers, and it is one of the busiest courts in the state after the city of New York, of course.
Yeah.
So we get about, say, 7,000 criminal cases a year, and I spend a lot of time in that criminal court bench. I think what I would like to tell people is that when they do come to court, on a local level, that they do have a right to have a lawyer if they wish, but in many parts of the court system, on the local level, they can represent themselves. That's true in small claims court, that's true in traffic court, where I sit also, and that's also true in landlord-tenant court. The only place where it is usually advisable to have an attorney is in the criminal courts, where, of course, if a person is found guilty, they may face a jail term.
Oh,
So
so that they can be what they call pro se.
it's called pro se.
For yourself.
That's right, except probably in the criminal court.
And you wanted to see more educational efforts to tell people about courts in the schools.
Yes, I really would encourage that. You know, so much is in the news now about O.J. Simpson and that trial, and let's face it, we're all fascinated with it. We've had so much press coverage of this rather tragic death about a year ago with Ann Douglas, and the fact that some people feel that the courts failed this poor lady. I really am trying to work with particularly women's groups and citizens groups and other judges to address the concerns of people and to educate students in particular about what the court system is, how it works, particularly on the local and in the criminal level, and what kind of questions and concerns should be addressed. One of the things we do as an organization, the New York State Women's Judges Organization,
Oh, that's good.
is to listen carefully to the concerns expressed by people and to try to make certain recommendations to lawmakers about changes in the law to help protect people better and their rights.
I think one time when I was down at the Yonkers court, you had a group of youth come through.
Yes, and it's a delightful experience most of the time, particularly when I take them through the jail and they see what could happen to them should they misbehave.
Oh,
And it gives them a little scare when they have some handcuffs put on them.
Ooh.
But, you know, hopefully that will never happen to these students.
You never left any of them there, did you?
I was tempted one time. The teacher wanted me to.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the folks about how the court system works?
No, I must say that programs such as yours, Glendora, are very helpful to people because this gives us, say, a judge or a teacher, a chance to talk a little more about the system. I would encourage teachers or citizens groups to come to court and to sit down. They're open and public,
I'm telling
as you have done many times,
I'm telling
and
you.
to see what goes on.
You can never go to court, but what it's very interesting, really.
So that
Never.
should you ever have to go to court
Yeah.
as a litigant, say in traffic court or in small claims,
Yeah.
you have some idea of what goes on. I think it's an invaluable experience. It's free,
Yes.
and I welcome it.
Yeah, we ought to point out to you people that it's a constitutional right that a person have a public trial. And if you can't come in the public, then he's not getting a public trial. So you mustn't be afraid to walk into a courtroom.
Absolutely not. And I will say for myself that I am very happy when I see people come in.
Sure.
Because I'm glad people are taking an interest.
Yes.
And we welcome, in the courts, we welcome criticism, observations. It gives us a chance to look at ourselves sometimes.
Right, right. This is City Judge Mary Smith, City Court of Yonkers, and she's going to come back and tell you more about the courts in just a second, and this is a chat with Glendora. Now then, Mary H. Smith, you want to talk to the people about the difference between the city courts and the county courts and the Supreme Courts, all the Westchester Supreme Court, the Westchester County Court, and the City Court.
Yes. Most people don't understand the difference, and I think it's good to know. A local or city court will address issues concerning minor matters, not minor in importance to the people, but say less expensive lawsuits. We have a $15,000 cap on our lawsuits in Yonkers. Small claims court has a $2,000 cap. And our criminal courts, which are intake courts for arraignment and for preliminary hearings, do not address at trial anything higher than a misdemeanor. That's a misdemeanor crime with a cap of 1 year in jail should they be convicted. County court Westchester County Court is a court of higher jurisdiction for crimes. So if someone is convicted, or let me withdraw that, someone is charged with a felony such as murder, robbery, rape, the case might come in through Yonkers because the arrest was made in Yonkers for arraignment and hearings, but in fact the case will soon go up to White Plains County Court for indictment on the indictment, hearings on the indictment, and trial.
We have Judge Mary Smith with us, and Judge Mary Smith is a city judge in the City Court of Yonkers. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you, Glendora?
Doing fine. You wanted to tell people what you do in court down in Yonkers.
Yes, I did. Many times we have had a conversation over coffee about the fact that so many people come to court, they don't know what it's all about, they're frightened, they don't know their rights, and it has often occurred to me that there are no programs that I'm aware of anyway in most schools, that most students don't know much about the court system or how the courts are set up or what their rights are, and most adults don't either. So when they come to court, it's a very frightening experience for many people. I am a city court judge in the city of Yonkers, and it is one of the busiest courts in the state after the city of New York, of course.
Yeah.
So we get about, say, 7,000 criminal cases a year, and I spend a lot of time in that criminal court bench. I think what I would like to tell people is that when they do come to court on a local level, that they do have a right to have a lawyer if they wish, but in many parts of the court system on the local level, they can represent themselves. That's true in small claims court, that's true in traffic court, where I sit also, and that's also true in landlord-tenant court. The only place where it is usually advisable to have an attorney is in the criminal courts, where, of course, if a person is found guilty, they may face a jail term.
Oh.
So
that they can be what they call pro se.
It's called pro se.
For yourself.
That's right, except probably in the criminal court.
And you wanted to see more educational efforts to tell people about courts in the schools.
Yes, I really would encourage that. You know, so much is in the news now about O.J. Simpson and that trial, and let's face it, we're all fascinated with it. We've had so much press coverage of this rather tragic death about a year ago with Ann Douglas, and the fact that some people feel that the courts failed this poor lady. I really am trying to work with particularly women's groups and citizens groups and other judges to address the concerns of people and to educate students in particular about what the court system is, how it works, particularly on the local and in the criminal level, and what kind of questions and concerns should be addressed. One of the things we do as an organization, the New York State Women's Judges Organization,
Oh, that's good.
is to listen carefully to the concerns expressed by people and to try to make certain recommendations to lawmakers about changes in the law to help protect people better and their rights.
I think one time when I was down at the Yonkers court, you had a group of youth come through.
Yes, and it's a delightful experience most of the time, particularly when I take them through the jail and they see what could happen to them should they misbehave.
That's good.
And it gives them a little scare when they have some handcuffs put on them.
Ooh.
But, you know, hopefully that will never happen to these students.
You never left any of them there, did you?
I was tempted one time. The teacher wanted me to.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the folks about how the court system works?
No, I must say that programs such as yours, Glendora, are very helpful to people because this gives us, say, a judge or a teacher, a chance to talk a little more about the system. I would encourage teachers or citizens groups to come to court and to sit down. They're open and
absolutely.
public,
I'm telling
as you have done many times,
I'm telling
and
you.
to see what goes on.
You can never go to court, but what it's very interesting, really.
So that
Never.
should you ever have to go to court
Yeah.
as a litigant, say in traffic court or in small claims,
Yeah.
you have some idea of what goes on. I think it's an invaluable experience. It's free,
Yes.
and I welcome it.
Yeah, we ought to point out to you people that it's a constitutional right that a person have a public trial. And if you can't come in the public, then he's not getting a public trial. So you mustn't be afraid to walk into a courtroom.
Absolutely not. And I will say for myself that I am very happy when I see people come in.
Sure.
Because I'm glad people are taking an interest.
Yes.
And we welcome, in the courts, we welcome criticism, observations. It gives us a chance to look at ourselves
Yeah,
sometimes.
Right, right. This is City Judge Mary Smith, City Court of Yonkers, and she's going to come back and tell you more about the courts in just a second, and this is a chat with Glendora. Now then, Mary H. Smith, you want to talk to the people about the difference between the city courts and the county courts and the Supreme Courts, all the Westchester Supreme Court, the Westchester County Court, and the City Court.
Yes. Most people don't understand the difference, and I think it's good to know. A local or city court will address issues concerning minor matters, not minor in importance to the people, but say less expensive lawsuits. We have a $15,000 cap on our lawsuits in Yonkers. Small claims court has a $2,000 cap. And our criminal courts, which are intake courts for arraignment and for preliminary hearings, do not address at trial anything higher than a misdemeanor. That's a misdemeanor crime with a cap of 1 year in jail should they be convicted. County court, Westchester County Court, is a court of higher jurisdiction for crimes. So if someone is convicted, or let me withdraw that, someone is charged with a felony such as murder, robbery, rape, the case might come in through Yonkers because the arrest was made in Yonkers for arraignment and hearings, but in fact the case will soon go up to White Plains County Court for indictment on the indictment, hearings on the indictment, and trial. The county court. Supreme Court is the top court in our state of trials. It covers every type of matter. It can cover criminal matters. It can cover civil matters, no matter what the monetary amount. It is the highest court for trials. Above that are appeals courts. So that most of the matters that we handle in the local courts are relatively minor, although not to the people involved, with the county courts taking the felony or major criminal cases.
Now then, Judge Mary Smith, you are running for the county court, Westchester County.
Right.
And I would like to know if you would tell the people why you want to be a county court judge.
Well, that's a good question. For all of my career, I have spent my time in criminal courts, either as a judge in the city of Yonkers for the last 5 years, or as a trial attorney, prosecutor for the Westchester District Attorney's Office for 8 years, and a special counsel investigating corruption. This is an area of law that I am fascinated with, that I dedicate my life to, and so it is a natural urge, I think, to wish to progress in that area as far as you can, and county court is one step up from the Yonkers City Court. If I could define it in old-fashioned way, it would be to say that I'm now playing in a triple-A league in baseball and would love to get a chance to join the Yankees. God bless them, and hope we see them next year. So that's the best way I can tell you why I would like to go to county court. I love trial work. I love presiding over trials. And I think my years of experience in the AAA league, as well as being a trial lawyer, have prepared me well for the step up.
Mary, tell the folks, where were you born?
Born in Boston, home of the Red Sox, who will someday win the World Series, hopefully before I die.
And you went to school in Boston?
I went to school in Boston, to Simmons College on the Fenway.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good college.
It's excellent, excellent college. And when I moved to New York with my husband, we lived on Long Island, and I went to Hofstra Law School, which is in Hempstead, Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
And also a rather new school, as law schools go, but a very, very good one. And I'm grateful for that experience.
And so you got your Juris...
JD. The
Juris
JD,
Doctor?
right, Juris Doctor there.
And then what'd you do after that, Mary?
I was appointed a special prosecutor under Abrams, who was the Attorney General at that time, to investigate and prosecute corruption in the New York City judicial and criminal justice system. It's a lot of words, but what it meant was I went to trial and I appealed cases concerning bribe-taking by judges and police officers.
Oh, good.
And learned a great deal while I did that.
Yeah.
As a result of that experience, I hope at least I am very, very careful about my own ethics and morals, and hope to have a good influence on others as well.
Were you an AAG, an Assistant Attorney General?
It was worse. It was an SAAG, Special Assistant Attorney General. I was a SAG.
And then what did you do after that?
After that, I was appointed by the district attorney at that time, Carl Vergari, to be an assistant assistant DA, district attorney. And as all of your viewers know, a district attorney is the prosecutor, the legal branch of the government that will prosecute criminals in court. I was a special Mr. Vergari in doing trial work and prosecuting crimes against women and children, very violent crimes against women and children, and I did that.
You must have known Janine quite well, Janine.
Became head of the Domestic Violence Bureau and did a wonderful job, and I prosecuted all of the which were not technically domestic crimes. Unfortunately, I have more than enough crimes to deal with in my branch.
And then how did you become a city judge, City of Yonkers?
Well, I was not involved in politics, so I can't say that it came as a political reward. What happened was someone had approached me and said that there had never been an elected woman judge in Yonkers.
Oh.
And in fact, there was no elected woman judge at that time in the whole county, I don't think, maybe a family court judge, but very few. And they approached me and asked me if I would run. And initially I thought, oh my goodness, I couldn't do that. But I was talked into trying it and having the courage to do it. And as a result of that, I won very handily an election. And it proved to me one thing. Glendora, people do read the literature that you put out. People do read your credentials. If people are given a chance to find out about you and to test you and to make their own opinion, they will do it.
Really?
And I was very gratified by my experience.
Really?
Yes.
And then how did you decide to take the nomination for county court judge?
Well, there were 4 openings this year and 4 judges to be elected. And right now, there is no one that I'm aware of anyway who is running with the same credentials that I have as a trial lawyer, and also is a first woman elected judge in Yonkers, and all kinds of things that they do look at. And I was asked if I would consider doing it. Was very honored by my being considered, and also thought, well, why not? I really enjoy this area. I want to serve people. I'm dedicated to justice and to fairness, and I do have a lot of practical experience in this criminal field, so I decided to accept and give it a try.
So we should vote for you, is that right?
Well, I hope so. I would love that.
Okay, is there anything else that you wanted to tell the folks?
No, I just would urge people, again, if they have a chance to get in touch with the court system, get in touch, or just come to court sometime, see how it works. If you're a teacher, get in touch with a few of the judges. Ask them if you can come and view a court proceeding. I really believe it helps people. And it also helps us to find out what people are concerned about and how they perceive our criminal justice system, which is so important.
Well, we want to thank you very much for being on a chat with
Thank you.
Glendora, Judge Mary Smith, City Court of Yonkers. And we really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, I appreciate being asked. I always love to chat with you, Glendora, whether it's on television. Cake down at the shop. It's good to see you again.
Take care, man. And what is bad is that these callers are too cowardly to leave their names and to leave their numbers. You know, that's pretty reprehensible. You know, how scurrilous can you get? You know, pusillanimous is really the word. No, you know, no bravery of mind. So this was, all of these telephone calls came from the reading of Glendora's comments on the very bad decision by Judge Colabella and by his law clerk Raymond Powers, and by the bad behavior of his court clerk T.J. Mallon and of his criminal court clerk Steve Kellner.
Please call me at 472-1176. My name is Travis. Travis Dick. The area code is 914. We love you, honey. Bye-bye. When you call a miniature guppy, a microfiche, this is one little technicality here. How do you sue so many people? I mean, do you actually think you have a case against all these people? I mean, most people sue like one person maybe in 10 years, but you sue constantly. How do you expect to like have any credibility at all? You're just full of shit. Yeah, how do you pay a lawyer bill? That's another one. Or you have one of those court-appointed judges, so like welfare people like you. Tying up the court system with like useless information, a material that no one's interested in. I mean, not doing any good. Bottom.
Okay, the boy who was so obscene and vulgar was prompted in the background by somebody. Who is this? Is this Judge Colabella? Is this Raymond Powers? Is this T.J. Mallon? Is this Stephen Kellner? Is this Edmund Purvis? Who are they? This last one was too much of a coward to leave his name, to leave his number. Those calls came during the program that was on TCI 9 to 9:30, October 4th, 1994, Tuesday. All of those calls came while the program was being cablecast. Where that man was in the background, corrupting that youth, that's a bad thing to see. And I should have called the court, Colabella, Mallon, and Kellner, and Raymond Powers, and told them that the report was going to be on Tuesday night. I did call the next day and told Powers that it was on last night. So this is the same thing that Gannett pulled off for weeks and months. You know, when every week there was a report on TV, on TCI about Gannett, the phone was just hopping like that all of the time. I accidentally erased one call from a woman named Fran, who left her number and asked me to call her, which I did, and I left a message. So it's a very bad performance, and it's very sad. And this is Ginny Cap, who has succumbed to the 600-watt light and finds this the ideal environment to do her ablutions. Now, about Judge Mary Smith, who is a judge in the City Court of Yonkers and is running for county judge, Westchester County, I am going to vote for her. And I'm probably going to vote for Fred Shapiro, and I'm probably going to vote for Judge West, and I'm probably going to vote for Judge Lange. I'm certainly not going to vote for Judge Coppola. But I will definitely vote for Mary Smith. She really seems interested in having the public know about the courts. And that's an unusual thing for a judge. You know how judges are: no recorders, no tape recorders, no audio recorders, no video recorders, because they want to hide their bad behavior from the public. And you know that I'm all for recording in the courts. Ginny's washing away. Now I'd like to show you this. Ginny, do you mind if I show this to the people? This came from Cablevision, Long Island. And I got to say high praise for Diane Bennett, the way she handles the public access programs in and out and the cable casting of same. And she's very pleasant. And she's really a pleasure to deal with. And she sent, those are two programs that she sent back, two 3/4-inch tapes. And I send her my programs by UPS. That was an aggravated harassment call. I'll read you that law. Aggravated harassment. A person is guilty of aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree when with intent to harass, annoy, threaten, or alarm another person, he makes a telephone call, whether or not a conversation ensues, with no purpose of legitimate communication. Aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree is a Class A misdemeanor, and that's Section 240.30 of the Criminal Code, Penal Code. Now, I was telling you about these videotapes. They go out on 3/4 inch. sends them right to the post office, which is good. I don't like UPS in that sense because I have to go out to UPS in Elmsford and pick them up because I'm never home. And so UPS doesn't deliver to a post office box. So these two programs were programs 3rd and 4, Cablecast on Cablevision Long Island. There's Diane Bennett's receipt, which is a nice receipt. And these programs are done. That was the end of the line for those. It's programs of 1501 and 1505. And I send her 4 at a time by UPS, which would go right to her door. So Tuesday after Judge Mary Smith left, I turned off all of the equipment, all the video equipment, the monitor and the camera and the light and the microphone, and let it cool down, and then fed the cats. And I didn't eat until 3:30, but it doesn't work. I'm still weigh 163 pounds. And then I've tried to finish the telephoning. I think it was something like 120 calls on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, oh yes, a referee describes a fan as somebody who screams at you because he thinks you called one wrong on the interior of the center line, and then he can't find his car in the parking lot. Plants in the field that the Youngs abandoned and that I adopted. We did the meditation and the creation, and the hymn is, "Come thou almighty King, help us thy name to sing, help us to praise. Father all glorious, o'er all victorious, come and reign over us, Ancient of Days." Did you know that I finished reading the Business Corporation Law? You know that I'm reading the New York statutes. And volume, about the 6th or 7th book is the Business Corporation Law of the State of New York. And the think drawer is things that you put into a folder that you don't have time to think about during the day. And so in the morning you look at them when your mind is fresh, if it is, and you make your decisions then. And then I started working on the biography for my college, the American International College. They want a biography for the class of 1950. And I had to tell them in 1976 that Glendora TV Ads was launched, and Franklin typed Section 718 of the Business Corporation Law for the home addresses for Dolan, and did the filing for September. And the green calls are done, and the red calls are done, and most of the 7As are done. And 5 calls came in last night on a chat with Glendora, and I had to queue up that and put it on videotape for you, which you've just heard played. Franklin arrived, and then I drove the Lincoln to John Idice, who was so very, very handy and does such good auto body work, Riemann Auto Body, down where the Department of Motor Vehicles gives tests for people getting their license. And Ginny is playing with, I guess it with a gumball. And John, a young man who works there, not John Idice, took the panel off of the rear passenger door, and he inserted this door actuator. You know, you buy a luxury car and it's just trouble. You know, it's just more and more problems, more and more things to go wrong, more and more things to stay in a garage to have repaired. But young John did a very, very good job on that. Young Louis found a praying mantis in a car that they were working on in the trunk, and he brought that out and put it outdoors because the people down there say that you cannot kill a praying mantis. You shouldn't kill anything like that. And so I was kind of worried about the praying mantis because it's so cold. He can't move, this praying mantis. So I tried to get him into a cup so you have some shelter and an open cup, and put him in the woods right there near 287. Of course, that's where he came from. And John Idice is suing his neighbors because there's a a pipe there, and it's their responsibility to keep it cleaned out. They don't, and the pipe is half filled with stuff, and so the road floods and the water comes up through everywhere all over John Idice's property. Has gone on for 10 years.